Hey everybody, this is Troy Saunders, and welcome to the BAAS Group Presents, listening experiences for the indie artist aficionado. Welcome to the first episode of the BAAS Group Presents. I'm Troy Saunders. You know what, before we get into this episode, I want to tell you about the BAAS Group. We were started in 2009, and our goal was to present the best indie soul, jazz, R&B artists out there. We were blessed to showcase so many great artists such as Dion Farris, Allison Williams, Shay Fio, Angela Johnson, Darian Dean, Abby Dobson, Rory Valverde, Trina Bouchard, Colette, China Black, Russell Taylor, Monet, oh my God, Gordon Chambers. The list just goes on and on and on. Keeping in that tradition, tonight we have Tanqueray Hayward. Before I introduce Tanqueray to you, I'm going to play the song that's tearing up the charts for Tanqueray in the UK. It's called This Kind of Love. Enjoy.
The kind of love you only dream of. Everything I ever wanted. Pure ecstasy for me. That's all I want. This kind of love. This kind of love. And I know that it's real by the way that I feel. A love so strong, it keeps going on. You're the kind of man who makes your woman feel good. Give me flowers and open doors just like he should. You took my baby girl in, just like she was yours. We became a family. It made me secure. This kind of love. This kind of love. And I know that it's real by the way that I feel. A love so strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Tanqueray Hayward. Hey, lady.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you. I kind of screwed up a little bit. Don't worry about it. We're going to edit all that stuff out. Thank you for being the first guest on the BAAS Group Presents. I am so honored.
Yeah, I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
You know, I call it divine intervention because I was sitting, I'm going to tell the people how this whole thing came to be.
Okay.
I'm sitting up in the doctor's office getting some routine blood work done. And the person that was taking my blood, his name is Tim Mara. And we were talking about the things that I do or what I did in retirement. He said, well, what, you're retired. You look too young to be retired. I was like, yeah, but I started a couple of podcasts. He said, really? What is your podcast all about? I said, indie soul artists, R&B, jazz, that type of stuff. He said, really? I was like, yeah, really. He got so excited. I was like, he said, I got somebody that you might know. Or he asked me, he said, have you ever heard of Tanqueray Hayward? And I was like, yeah. He said, you do it? You heard of her before? I'm like, yeah. He said, really? I'm like, I'm not pulling your leg. Yes. He said, well, where did you? I said, soultracks.com. They talk about her all the time, and I love her music. He said, you do? He said, would you like to be in contact with her? I was like, sure. So he said, I'm going to take your number. Here's my number. I'm going to call her, and I'm going to tell her to call you. And I was like, okay, sure, I'm down for that. So that same night she called me. I was in shock. I was like, I don't believe that, it worked that quickly.
Oh, yeah. Because he was going to find out if I called you or not.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you, Keith. Mm-hmm.
You are definitely a diamond. So, yeah,
Oh,
that's how this whole thing came to be. So, tell me about yourself, Tanqueray. I understand that you're from Philadelphia.
yeah. I am from Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, born and raised, as Will Smith says. Um, been singing since I was about 5 years old. Started singing in the church, of course. And I wanted to be Whitney Houston. So that was my dream, to be Whitney. And of course, listening to people, they said, well, you need to focus on a career because the chances of you being Whitney Houston, it's not going to happen. So I focused on a career and just sang in church basically. And I didn't really get my start with performing until only about 6 years ago. And it started from a birthday party I was invited to. And from there, networked with some musicians. And then before I knew it, I was headlining at venues, performing cover songs. And then I decided to finally get my own music out. So here I am.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. So, you know what? There's no such thing as doing things late. It comes when it's supposed to come. And you know what? I'm glad you waited because that means you have more things to write about.
Right, that's right.
Because I can tell that this album is totally autobiographical, at least most of it.
Okay, yes. Definitely.
Okay, because I'm like, all right, she's singing that like she feel that, like she went through it. I was like, mm-hmm. And you wrote all the lyrics to the song?
I wrote all but one. Mm-hmm. And my producer helped me to, co-write the songs as well.
Do you play any instruments?
I dabble with the keyboard. I can play some things by ear. That's one of my goals, to actually learn how to play, because I really like playing the piano.
So you said you would like to learn how to play the piano. So when you do your songs, how do? You sing it to somebody and then they come with the melody, or how does that work out?
No, so the producer, which his name is T.L. Scheider, so he's actually the younger brother of Gary Scheider from Parliament Funkadelic. I met him on Facebook, and he actually sent me tracks. And he said, I feel like these tracks will fit your voice, and you can, take a listen to them. And sure enough, there were so many that he sent me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I like this, I like this, I like this. And I knew, again, that's that divine intervention, it's God, because I've met other people who would just send me anything, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, they clearly have not listened to my voice, seriously. And it was just like each song, I was just like, okay, yes, 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 yes. So I pretty much picked the ones that I really, really liked. And then once I picked those, then I would play them in my car every day, on the way to work, on the way back home, play it in the house. So then finally, something will pop up as far as the idea, what do I want the song to be about? And then, like with This Kind of Love, that song was written and recorded in 4 hours.
Get out of here.
I like you not. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. You doing the old school style. We hit it and quit. We don't need all this extra stuff. Just play the song. I'm singing. I'm out.
Yep. Well, because I had the song for a minute, and even like the end of the song where I'm like, la, 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 la. I was in the car when I thought about that, and I wanted to add that in there because I said, oh, man, that would be great for, like, if, the audience could sing that, and I could picture that,
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I actually wrote the lyrics, and then I went in, I recorded all the background vocals, and I basically sang everything in one take. I mean, that song... It even shocked my producer. It was the second song that I recorded. So by this time, we kind of got to know each other because the first time we met when we worked on this thing, we were kind of arguing and going back and forth with our differences because we were just meeting. So it was like, okay, I don't like that. Well, I don't like that. And so the second meeting with this kind of love, it basically came together a lot better, a lot smoother. And so he said, well, I want to set the atmosphere in the room. So the room was dark and it had like these red, green, and blue lights. So it looked like date night, with these like strobe lights. And so I recorded in the dark, but I could see him sort of, and I could just see him putting his hand over his head like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
She wear this thing out.
Listen. I mean, so much so that when I performed it for the first time, I said, "Oh my God, I really sang the mess out of this song. I can't even hit these notes. I can't even believe I did that."
Okay, isn't that crazy? Like I hear a lot of artists say that. I go in a studio and I do something. I'm such in that zone. Sometimes it's hard to duplicate that when you do it live.
I'm telling you. I said I will never do that song last after a 90-minute show.
Get that out first.
Yes.
Or second, one or the other.
Yes. Man, but I didn't realize that song was going to take off. I didn't realize that, and even when Chris, he actually approached me, and because he had just wrote about my other song, my first song, This Thing. And he actually approached me and said, I wanted to write something about this kind of love. Like, this is it's a classic,
okay.
I was like, oh, wow, and yeah, and did really well over in the UK. And I guess it was just the vibe of the song,
Yeah, it's a classic R&B tune, It doesn't have all that extra fluff and stuff that's going on. And one thing that we talked about before is that I love that there's no profanity in your music. I cannot stand all the it seems like everybody that's out has to have half the album with some cuss words on it. I don't like that. So
yeah, I don't have no, I don't know. I guess there's just no need. I don't have any need for it.
Exactly. And I don't think they do either. I know a lot of people going to be looking at me with the side eye, but I don't care. I'm a man of a certain age now. I don't care. So yeah, I can do without all that profanity. And I'm glad you don't have any of it on yours. It's just some good old fashioned R&B songs. And you know what? Not only R&B, I hear a little jazz in there. That song, Baby Mama,
Single Mom Blues.
Single Mom Blues, that has an old Motown, going back to the 50s, 60s type of sound to it.
Yes. I'm laughing because I remember, again, in the car, and I thought about it. I told my producer, I want to sing about my baby daddy. He said, "To that? What?" So he didn't even see the vision, Mm-hmm. And I said, well, once we start recording, let's just, he was just looking at me like, I don't know, young lady, if this is going to work. But then we pulled it off. Like, it started coming together, and then he was like, okay, I will never doubt you again.
And you know what I think? I think people want to hear stuff that you really feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't think everything has to be so clean. Without the curse, I'm not talking about curse words now. I'm talking about clean, like without any troubles. I think the more that you sing about what's really going on in your life, the more people are going to feel it. I think that's what made Mary J. Blige so pertinent.
Exactly.
It's because
that's why I ended up loving her.
You know, because I mean, somebody might be mad at me, but Mary wasn't the best singer at the beginning. But you felt her. She gave you heart. You can feel exactly what she was going through. Yep. And you like, go ahead, Mary, sing it, girl. Mm-hmm. I feel you, girl. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
And that's how music should be. It should be from the heart.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I had like quite a few men actually approach me about Single Mom Blues and said they loved it.
Yeah.
And so that actually surprised me, but yeah. So I was happy about it. Now I don't know if my daughter's father actually heard it. I'm sure I would have gotten a phone call by now. But
and the first track is the best. I mean, I'd say the best. It's a great opening track. You picked the right song for that. Because when I heard it, I said, you know what? This whole thing is gonna be bad. And then what I love is that every song on there is good. Every song is good. There's no songs on there that I would say, you know what? She could have let that off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Well, you know what? Even the producer said the same thing. He was like, because I was listening to it to try to hear something different. He was just like, every song is just good. It's just like one after another after another. And I think because, I did put out This Kind of Love as a single. I put out This Thing as a single. So it was almost like the pressure was on. Like they wrote, especially over in the UK, they were like, okay, she's coming out with an album. What is it going to be? So I kind of felt the pressure. So I was very, very nervous about it. But I knew it was good. I knew the songs were great, but I was very, very nervous about what the feedback was going to be. But it's been great.
But you know what? As long as you did it from the heart, and as long as everything that you put on it was something that you really wanted to do, it can be nothing but positive because you didn't shortchange yourself. So how could you lose? How could you lose?
Right. You're absolutely right. Yep.
So if somebody else didn't get it, shame on their butt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I had to learn that. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to like it. Everybody, they have their opinions, about things. So, but I know that there are people, a lot of people that will appreciate it, especially because it came from me. So.
Exactly. And so I know you said Whitney Houston, but you have, since you were singing gospel, who are your influences besides Whitney? And I'm sure it's a few gospel artists out there that you love.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have to put Aretha in there, but I love the Clark sisters. I love Mahalia Jackson. Some of the quartet artists, Mighty Clouds of Joy, Lee Williams and the Spiritual QC. There's, and also just my mom, like she just played music. It didn't matter who it was from, where it was from, and that's why I, even admire Shaka Khan so much. And I always say I kind of, somebody said, well, if you imagine who you remind yourself of, I say Shaka Khan, not vocally, but in a sense that I can do everything. It doesn't matter what it is. I jazz, gospel, R&B, even some rock. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm feeling the music like it's on.
You speak about language when you say Shaka, because that's my girl. I loves me some Shaka. Ever since I was like 6 years old. No, I was really 7.
Okay.
And I first heard Shaka, and I was like, oh my God, who is this woman?
Listen, it's just some songs I just stay away from. And, because people think because you can sing everything. And I'm like, no, I stick to You Got the Love and Tell Me Something Good. That's about it.
Okay.
Everything else, no.
Even the ones that you think are simple, like Everlasting Love, it's not a simple song to sing.
Nah.
Until you once you start getting into it, like, wait a second. I got bit off a little bit too much that I could chew.
Yep. She just on a whole nother level. So, and people don't seem to understand that. And so, I would watch these, Shaka tributes, and I'd just be drinking my soda. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for you to hit this note. And then when they try to get the crowd to sing it, or they just, I'm like,
Okay.
I learned how to stay in my lane, even as a cover artist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has, like Shaka always says, everybody has their own God-given talent. And there's no competition amongst creatives, because what you have is to yourself. It's what's part of you, and everybody else. Everybody is different. So why are you going to go try to be somebody else, when you have your own creativity that you can bring,
Yep.
that will make you unique amongst yourself, among the crowd, should I say.
Exactly. Yep.
So you just do you.
Yep.
And then whoever loves it will love it. Whoever doesn't, hey, what you
There's
gonna
the
do?
door.
Exactly. So you still live in Philly?
I do. I would love to stay out here. So right now I'm in a different area of the city. It's more suburbanish, and I actually like it. And I would like to get a house out here. So. Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to Philadelphia all the time because my great-grandmother and my grandfather and my uncle lived in Philly. And you go, what was the address? 5444 Ludlow.
Oh, I didn't grow up that far from there. West Philly. Yes. That ain't no joke around there, though.
Okay, well, you tell it.
Right. When it's dark, you want to be home.
Okay, but this was the 70s, so it was still, we can go outside a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Because what was the train? The Market Street was over there.
Yep, Market Street train. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and matter of fact, the house isn't even there anymore. They knocked it down and made it a parking lot, part of the school that's there. Is an elementary school or something over there.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the house was originally that parking lot that's there.
Wow. But you know what? They have made so many changes, though. I mean, they've knocked down churches. They've knocked down other homes. Like, it's just so different now from when I was a kid. It's part of it is really sad to see.
Yeah, right. It's happening in all the major cities, like Brooklyn. I'm like, Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my goodness, where do all these buildings come from, and where all these people come from? I remember when I was a kid, nobody wanted to go to Brooklyn. I ain't going to Brooklyn. It's too hood. Not everybody live in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the hood, got a few blonde ponytails swinging out there.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like, wow, you talking about a change? Matter of fact, let's get into some more music. Because, let's see. You know what? Since we talked about that first song, let's go there. Let's go to Caught Up.
All right.
I'm going to play a little bit of Caught Up for y'all. This is Tanqueray Hayward, y'all.
This one, sweet as can be. I love the way he holds me. But I know he's not ready for what I really need. So I'm caught up in my mind, caught up wasting time, caught up, you're not mine, caught up, must decide, caught up in my mind, caught up wasting time, caught up, you're not mine, caught up, must decide. This one, he's my fantasy, everything I need. The way we move is so good to me. And this one, he's got it all, but he can't commit to me. You can't keep wasting my time, always on my mind. You're not mine, and I must decide, 'cause I'm caught up in my mind, caught up wasting time, caught up, you're not mine, caught up, must decide, caught up in my mind, wasting time, caught up, you're not mine, caught up.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That song is like, I love it. And you talking about some power. I love when you get into it and just give us that gut.
Yeah. I mean, singing about 3 people, you know. Oh, boy.
That song. When I first said, I said, you know what? Like I said before, this is the perfect intro song. The perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, it was something else I wanted to ask you. Now, when you started working on this album, did you work in the studio before, or was this the first time, you going in the studio and doing stuff?
I've done stuff for other people. I've done backgrounds, but as far as my own self, yeah, this was first time for me recording. Mm-hmm.
So did you find it difficult, or you felt like, because, since you're doing your own backgrounds, you just had that innate in you, or did, like, sometimes, so, but try this part and somebody tells you, to add this part, or did you just already know in my head, this is what I want to sound like, and I'm just going to go in there and do those notes?
Well, I kind of knew what I wanted, but it's my producer. Like, he adds a lot of that extra stuff, and he'll add those difficult notes, like those off notes. And, sometimes I was ready to box him, because I'm like, what note? What note? What you want me to do what? But it just comes together so well. So he's really good with that. And everything. So, and even like with the speaking part of Caught Up, so basically I'm singing kiss, hug, lay, repeat, kiss, hug, lay, repeat, because it's a cycle, and again, I'm in the car when I thought of it, and, I'm listening to the track, and it just came to mind, and I said, I want to speak that. And so when I told him, he was like, okay, let's do it. And then I told him how I wanted it, throughout the song. And so that was the vision for the song. But then, he, when I was singing the verses, and then he's like, okay, we're going to do caught up, caught up, caught up. So he's really good with just basically listening to the track over and over again. And then he'll add pieces. Round and round I go. So he's really good with just doing that. And then I'll just go in and do it. And then as I'm doing things, sometimes I might hear something else, and then we'll try it, and then it works.
You think it did? Yes, it did. And you know what? He's not too bad of a singer either. Because he's singing.
Thank you.
He's singing on one of those songs with you, isn't he?
Oh, End of Never. Yes, I had to whip him in the shape, though. I did. I did. Well, you know what? He actually recorded those backgrounds back in 2013. And he told me that he wanted me to actually re-record them. And I said, no. I said, I think it fits this song perfectly. Let's leave it. And then he's like, well, I haven't sang in so long. I said, that's okay. We'll get it together. So I actually recorded his vocals. So he gave me a crash course in engineering. And I had to, push the buttons. But I had to whip him into shape. Nope, that's flat. Do it again. Nope, do it again. Do it again. So the tables was turned a little bit with that song, but it came out so well. He did a great job. Did.
All right for the dominatrix for whipping him into place.
He might have liked it, though.
Okay.
He won't tell me that, but he might have, but he did a good job. And I was glad that, he said that he would do it, because originally when we met, he wanted me for the duet, and then it just never happened. And so as we were getting the album together, I said, I don't have any collaborations. Why don't we work on the duet? And he was just like, I don't know. I haven't sang it forever. I said, it's okay. We'll work it out, And I said, well, I can do most of the song, and, we'll add you in it. We'll work it out. And it turned out really well.
Shoot. While we talk about it, let's play a little bit of it.
All right.
All right, here we go. End of Never.
I'm thinking about the day you came my way, baby. I'm really glad you stayed with me
And if I had to do again, I wouldn't change a thing, yeah. Till the end of never, baby. That's how long I pray we stay together. Heavy storms, any kind of weather. Loving you until the end.
Till death do us part, baby. And it must have been our fate. 'Cause I trust you with my heart. I've never been the same ever since you came.
Loving me gets hard sometimes.
It's not hard.
We took a vow to love for life.
So with all my heart, I confess I'll be loving you until the end of never.
That's a smooth song right there. I love that song. I love this whole project. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Earlier we were talking about our daughters, and it must be hard to work a schedule around raising a child. Oh my God, how do you work that out?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I'm very thankful for the village that I have, who basically take care of her when I need to go out. And there have been times where she's been at the studio, and everybody loves her. And the producer, he loves when she comes. He brings snacks and everything, and she just always lights up the room. But it's definitely challenging. I'm grateful though that she's young, and not at that age where mom is gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually, I always spend a lot of time, as much time as I possibly can with her. But she's having a good time where she's at too. So when I am checking up on her, a lot of times she don't even want to talk to me. Mom, I'm busy. She's 5. She has her own schedule of things that she's doing. But had I not had that village, I don't know how I'd be able to do what I'm able to do, what I've been able to do, because she's been with me through the whole journey. When I quit my job, I was not carrying her at the time. So about maybe 5 months after I left my job and decided to pursue music full time, I found out I was having her. So she has been with me since the beginning of the journey. So,
Well, shout out to Ray.
shout out to Ray.
Shout out to Ray of Sunshine.
Yes, and she's keeping me motivated. When I write these songs, I know that, when I leave this earth, there'll be her songs, and, just continue on. And, she's just great with a whole bunch of things, so I'm just interested to see what she wants to do. If she wants to sing, she swims, she does gymnastics, she likes to dance. I don't know what she wants to do.
Well, you know what? She can do it all. She's young enough.
She can.
She can do it all. Like when Indigo first came with us, she was in hula dancing. Because one of her best friends was in hula dancing in, I think it was first grade, kindergarten. And she said, "Oh, Ellie is in hula. I want to do it too." I said, "Okay, sure." So we signed up for hula dancing. So then from hula dance, she said, "I want to play the violin." Okay, so we signed up for violin lessons, Then I want to play the piano. All right, so we'll sign up for piano lessons, I want to swim. So now she's on the competitive swimming team also. So like I say, she can do it all. And, she got a little voice on her. I try to get her to sing a little bit more. She's like, no, she's like shy. But when we drive and she in the back of the car hitting all the notes, I'm like, girl, you more in tune than I am. I'll be able, she'll be like, Daddy, that's not the note.
Yeah.
So, and are you in the Navy or something like that? Was in the Navy?
I am in the reserve. I don't have long to go. I get out in about 24 months.
Get out of here.
Yep.
So how do you, well, it's the reserve, so you only have to worry about your summer when you go away.
Well, I do work once a month, 1 weekend a month. And then sometimes it's in the summer, sometimes it could be in the winter. So it just depends on what's needed. You can be deployed at any time. So that's the thing. You always have to be ready, So they can basically call me tonight and say, hey, you got to be here tomorrow, and I got to get Ray's together and, all the plans that I made for her, got to get out there, sign that paper and see what all I did and said and get her out, and I got to go. So it is what it is.
I know that feeling. I was in the Marine Corps. So I did 4 years active and 4 years reserve. But yeah, so I believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. And thank you for your service.
And thank you for yours.
Hey, I loved it while I did it, while I was in it. But shoot, I didn't stay to retire. Go ahead, girl.
Yeah. I was more than halfway through. I said, I might as well go ahead and, keep it going, because then that way I'll have a little casino money and I can get me a little young guy and buy some Jordans and just enjoy life.
What else you want me to play for the peoples?
Oh, boy, complicated.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that are going through this too. So.
Yeah, I would always laugh when I would see, like, the relationship status. It's like single, married, it's complicated. And it's a mess going on.
Okay.
But you're not willing to leave, and you should.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are living in that situation. I know.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, they look at it and tag them on Facebook. I'm like, no, it's a complicated mess.
This is for you, boo-boo.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Lord. All right, y'all. We're going to play a little bit complicated. Enjoy.
Sometimes love can be so complicated. I'm just trying to figure it out. Here we go. We have known each other for so long. It's real. And over time we fell in love. It's real. The love we've had is so strong, intoxicated, really is complicated. Because of life, we're apart, and it makes things complicated. Been a while since I've seen you. Been a while. Boy, you haven't changed. Reminiscing on the times we used to spend, and I'm so sorry it had to end. I know you have a family, and I'm okay with mine. I know you're still in love with me, and I wondered if she might. The love we had is so strong, intoxicated, it really is complicated. Yes, it is. Because of lies, we're apart, and it makes things complicated. And I can't believe
That's another bad jam there. I can't say enough good things about this album. I'm so glad that it came out the time it did that it did come out, because it's keeping R&B alive. It's one of those albums that's, I think you can play for somebody younger, older. Everybody can get into it. It's not just one age group that can get into it.
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of love from the younger people too. I can say younger people now, but yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
I'm playing it for everybody that I know. It reminds me like when the first time I first heard Lettucey's album. Matter of fact, I was talking to a friend on the phone, and he was just yabbing. And I was like, but he was playing Lettucey in the background. And I was like, hold up. His name is Jason. Hey, Jason. Shout out to Jason Johnson. Hey, Jason. I was like, who is that you're listening to in the background? He was like, you like her? I said, oh my gosh, she's incredible. He said, oh, this is Ladisi. So we didn't know how to say her name when we first heard her. Have you ever heard that first album?
No, but I mean, I remember when it came out, and like a lot of people were like, oh my God, you got to go back and listen to that first album. It'll make you appreciate all her great music now.
Yeah, that first album is not to be played with. And that's, legendary.
Mm-hmm.
So I said all that to say that I was playing Lettucey's album for anybody that breathed. I was like, oh my God, you got to hear this girl. You got to hear this girl. And that's how I feel about your album.
Oh, wow.
So I'm playing it for anybody that breathes right now. I'm like, y'all need to listen to this, because this is the real thing. Oh, now you put the clap. You know what? I like being silly and just letting it mess up, because you know what? I just wanted to be real.
That's right. That's the best way to be.
I don't want it to be perfect and, all this type of stuff. I just wanted to be a real conversation, a real interaction, and real mistakes. But a couple of mistakes I'm going to have to take out. How do you feel with, like, say, record companies and stuff? Do you feel like you ever want to be part of a record company, or you just want to stay independent?
You know what? It would depend on the right deal. If the right deal came along and everything was good, I'll go for it.
Okay.
It would have to be right. Mm-hmm.
I hear you. So how do you feel like
I think when I was younger, it was like, oh my God, I want a record deal. And now, knowing what I know now, and then you hear these horror stories, and, you watch these these movies, of course. Like, I learned a lot from these, unsung, and these, stories about, the different musicians and stuff. So I'm like, the light bulbs was going off. Oh, okay, make sure I don't do that. Make sure I do that, So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this day and age, it's easier to be independent than it was before. I mean, it's still a struggle, because, the record companies still have that hold on a lot of situations.
Right.
But I think it's a little easier to put your own stuff out now and get it out there with the internet and social media.
Oh, definitely. The fact that I can go out and put my song out and it could be on iTunes next week, like, I just feel like that's just amazing. I'm just happy about that alone.
Okay. And now I noticed your album isn't on iTunes, and you're selling it on your website, correct?
Yes, it is currently on my website, which is www.mstqmusic.com. It will be out digitally everywhere next month. So that was like a whole nother big thing that, I thought I was going to have to start fighting. Don't be talking about my baby. Don't be talking about my album now.
Okay.
But it'll be out everywhere for the other crybabies next month.
Okay. You know me, I didn't wait. I'm going right on over here.
And I appreciate that, because you know what? That money went to me.
Okay.
directly, and, with that, I was able to reinvest in my music. And that's what I wanted to do, for a little bit, and I just wanted to, there was just some things that I wanted to do and prepare for, and I'm able to do that now. So shout out to everybody who supported the album.
Wait.
So, you want to talk about supported Black business, y'all came through and supported this Black business.
Well, go on and say that website again. So those that didn't do it, go on over there and do it now. Pay your little $15 and get this album, and have it in your collection. You ain't gonna wait for I'm about to say the white folks. You don't have to wait to iTunes or nothing like that. You just go on over there, support Black business.
Yeah, so the website is www.mstqmusic.com.
And nothing against the white folks, because my partner's white, so I know. So I wasn't saying it with a prejudiced bone. I was just saying, let's support Black folks too. So say it one more time.
www.mstqmusic.com.
All right, so what we gonna ride out on?
We're gonna ride out on Broken Window.
Oh, you know what? I want to talk about Broken Windows.
Okay.
Because Broken Windows, you just reminded me. It's a song that could be played anywhere. It's not just an R&B song. It's something that you can hear on pop radio. Pop radio decided they want to pick it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's so. I don't think it's so genre specific.
Right. Yeah. For me, it was more of an inspirational feel. Basically, so I do suffer from depression, and so it's been hard, over the years. But I mean, I'm thankful that I am not where I was, where I was in a really, really dark place. I mean, it was so bad that I actually thought that I was going to get kicked out of the military, But thankfully, that didn't happen through the people I was working with and all, and, me doing some things myself. But I literally, that song was hard to do. I was in the studio just crying. When I first heard the song, those are not my background vocals. So he had somebody else had recorded the background vocals, and I loved her vocals. And I said, you know what? With what I'm going for with this song, I think that her voice just makes it a different dynamic. And so I wanted to keep her vocals. And so basically it's Broken Window. If you think about yourself as a house, your body as a house, as a temple, and, one of those pieces of your home is broken, which is like your soul. So that's where Broken Window comes from. And basically, again, it's just like my on again, off again, love-hate relationship with God. But, through it all, I'm still thankful, that he kept me here because, I felt like I didn't need to be here. But, as we know, it's not about what we want. At the end of the day, it's all about what God wants. So, that was basically my song to him. And I cried, literally, we had to retake it a few times because I could not get through it. And I said, I would just have to be in some sort of zone when I actually perform that song in person, because I know I am going to cry when I sing the song. So, yep.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, because, as Black people, we always say, we don't really talk about our feelings and if we are depressed or if we're suffering from depression, or even if we don't even really try to seek help or go to counseling or anything like that, because we see that as a sign of weakness. And for you to talk about it, I'm so glad that you do. I mean, shoot, I still go to counseling. I had some things happen to me, and I go to counseling right now.
Yeah, I can't even believe the number of people that I've helped. Because when people look at me, they actually see me as just like, she is just up there. She's in the military. She sings. She's a great mom. So they don't know that side, because typically, I don't go out there showing it. So when I first started talking about it, they're like, "Are you kidding me? What? This happened to you? you was hospitalized where for this? Like, I mean, I even remember at that time, even my coworkers, like they had to get counseling. Because basically when I attempted, by the time I got to work, I passed out. So they thought I was dead.
Wow.
And so for them to see that, it was kind of traumatic for them. So, it was definitely an interesting time. And I'm thankful for that time because, again, it allowed me to see that, one, there's people that's going through way worse than what I was going through, and that I cannot allow anybody, no matter who it is, whether it's a friend or a relative, whoever, get me to a point where I want to harm myself. And just, so I had to, I came out a new person. And you talk about you don't like cussing, man, I was left and right. Bye. Peace out. See you later. Don't need you. You're negative. Get out of here.
Okay.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't say I don't like cussing. I don't like cussing on music.
Because I could have a song, so I could, but I try to channel it into a whole different place.
Because I can cuss now. Don't get it twisted. I just don't think we need to hear it on our music.
Right. Yeah. So
anybody that been in the service can cuss.
Yeah. But as far as like a song, because
right,
I be thinking of some songs, but yeah. So I and even with because I do teach, so just a lot of the young people are just going through a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. So I'm glad that I can take myself to that place to even try to help them get through. So it was a reason, and I know that now for me to actually experience it myself because I, looking at it before all of this happened, I used to say, girl, life ain't that bad. You get over it, just cut it out, and it's not that way. Like, it's just not, so I empathize.
I get it. I definitely get it. I just want to thank you again for sharing your time, your spirit, your energy, your conversation. Thank you. I am honored.
Thank you.
I'm honored that you've been here. And in case y'all didn't know who we're talking to, because we just been talking, I didn't say her name. Her name is Tanqueray Hayward. And if you haven't gotten her CD, album, project, whatever you want to call it, compilation, get it now. Get it now. And thank you again. And we're going to ride out with Broken Window.
All right.
Yes.
Restored through my doubts and fears, through the fire, the storm.
Thank you for listening to the first episode of the BAAS Group Presents. And don't forget to check out my other podcast, 6 Degrees Of. Our featured artist this season is Miss Shaka Khan. So you know it's going to be hot. Please check it out on all your podcast apps.